Morgan Willie. Sorry, buddy.
You
What's up, man?
you caught me. You caught me eating some pumpkin
Cheesecake.
pie.
Man, I want some pumpkin pie. Thank you. You know, that's three things I couldn't get from you today. I'm really disappointed.
3. So our goal is 10, right? I'm supposed to give
Yeah,
you 10 things.
we're doing good. We're doing good. Well, happy post-Thanksgiving, Mark. I hope you and Diane, Willie, your mom, and the rest of your family had a nice Thanksgiving.
I hope the Cooper family ran into the day with excitement and enjoyed the rest of it on ice.
We did. You see me? I got my sweatshirt on. I'm running between hockey tournaments, Thanksgiving Day. My hat's crooked. My hair's messed up. What little bit I have. But no, it's been, hey, listen, anytime we get to spend time with friends and family and enjoy some ice hockey, what the heck? Why not?
Ice hockey with the girls is great. And I think you're going back to the ice later today. Am I correct?
Yeah, we got some tournament pictures at 4:10 and then another game at 4:30. So let's see how they do.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Folks out there, we're glad to have you on BS Friday Live. Dave, do this every week.
Every week we do this. Every week for 2.5 years, and we haven't missed a day yet. Even on the holidays, we don't miss a day, which is fun. And I have to tell you, it's one of those things when you love what you do, it doesn't really bother you. You know what I mean? It's kind of fun to hop on here, not only because I get to see you and all the people that join us all the time, but I love our guests too. And today's guest is no different, even with the whole Movember thing he's got going on. I'm telling you, it's like 1970s all over when we put on the screen.
The special guest, Dave, we're on a couple platforms today. Is you all right if I rattle them off?
Yeah, rattle away.
So we have Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Those are all the platforms. I'm so happy for the folks that give the comments. And remember, connect with the other people in the comment section. Say hello, right?
That's right.
That's what we do. If Dave and I were standing next to you and you walked into the circle and we're all hanging out in Expo Center, we would say, introduce yourself.
That's right.
Why we do this?
That is why we do it. So welcome, everybody. And if you are not following us, we are live. We are live on YouTube all the time. And what I mean by that is if you missed the show, guess what? You can watch them all on YouTube. So if you're catching this on LinkedIn, feel free to go to YouTube and subscribe. We are being watched over 10,000 hours a month. I see a bunch of YouTubers out there today. So, Mark, it is lit up on YouTube. Look, we got the Live Free folks there. What's happening? They're great people.
Oh, Live Free is great people. And just for you, Chris, at Live Free Contracting, since you missed my turkey, you're going to miss my pumpkin pie with homemade whipped cream.
Daryl Huddleston, what is up, Daryl? Love you guys, man. This is awesome, awesome, awesome. Love it, love it, love it. And there's some more coming up. We got Ontario, Canada in here. Architectural Sheet Metal 101. Man, we got some big shows coming up with some cold form steel with Howick. We just did a whole nother show on that. Man, wait until you see these, Mark. We have I think it's going to be probably a 5-part mini series, professionally done, live on location, live factory tours, different than how we've been doing it. So super, super excited about it as well. So what's up, Daniel Builds? Good to see you, my friend. I hope you are well out there. Yeah, YouTube's lighting it up. Maybe we should just do shows on the holiday.
Yeah, well, a lot of the folks that we saw there, they're up in Canada land, so it's not a holiday. Right. They had their holiday a month ago. So
that's right.
For the folks that are working right now, you do get continuing education credits. Just send it to Dave Cooper, and Mark Willie will give you credits at Gmail, Yahoo, Microsoft.com, and we'll make sure you get those credits.
How cool is that? How cool is that?
Actually, Dave, let's give them the credit right now. And the credit is a big thumbs up. All right.
Let's get into it. I forgot. I got a big surprise for you, Mark. Yeah. Guess what we'll be able to do next week?
Go to the moon.
Nope.
Eat chocolate covered pretzels to our heart's content. Oh, crickets.
Nope.
We will be able to have breakfast together.
No. All right. Guess what? Guess what I have the ability to do now? I got to figure out the phone numbers, but we're going to be able to take live phone calls during the show.
Live phone calls?
They'll be able to call. We can put a number up and say, hey, if you want to ask a question, not only can you put it in the comments, but you can call into the show now.
555-867-5309. Yeah.
I don't know what number that is, so don't call it, but isn't that cool?
555-1212. It's in every movie out there. I'm gonna take that phone number, Dave, and every trade show I'm at, I'm gonna write it on things.
Yeah, everyone. Wow. That's called graffiti, and I think that's illegal. First of all,
not if it's not permanent.
Got it. So you're going to use that erasable marker,
a dry erase marker, and then when they touch it, then they just go and it goes away. If it's not permanent, it's not graffiti.
Well, I'll let you deal with that, and your lawyer. I'm not sure I follow with that one, but we'll go with it. Hey, so we got a big show today, right? I mean, we got a lot of people joining. I mean, the screen is lit up. Super excited about today. So why don't we get into it? Because we even have Adam White from England on. You know, we don't want to waste his time. It's almost time for him to put his kids to bed.
If someone is on a platform where you could take the show link and share it, remember to share it. Please tag the presenter and connect with the other folks. We deliver it to other folks. So Dave, we're gonna jump in our helicopter, our virtual helicopter right now, and we're gonna hover real quick, and we're gonna land in this place called Vancouver, British Columbia. Vancouver, British Columbia. That's where we're coming from today. And would you like to introduce our guest, Dave?
I would, but I'm not real happy with Canada right now, Mark.
What?
Our first game this morning with the girls was against Toronto team, and they beat us in a shootout. So
but that's a shootout, right? So that means the game was tied, but the shootout wasn't.
That's correct. That's correct. It came down to the goaltending. Anywho, no, I'm just kidding. I love my Canada.
There's more left-handed sticks in Canada. That's what it is, Dave. It's the left-handed stick. It gives the competitive advantage.
It's funny you say that. I'm surprised you know that. That's impressive.
I know the statistics. There's 68% of the sticks in Canada are left, and 84% of the sticks in the US are right.
Really?
Yep.
Man, look at you go. I bet our next guest, Shaun, knows some of these statistics as well. He's a bit of a hockey player.
He's a goalkeeper as well. So
oh man. We got to make him do a split on the show.
Shaun, hey Dave, how about you do the intro? What do you say?
Well, let's do this together. I think we should go back and forth on the one words that we think about Shaun.
Oh, okay. I'll do that.
All right. So Shaun St-Amour, magnificent.
Shaun St-Amour, always present.
Shaun St-Amour, a passive house guru. That's more than one word, isn't it?
That's it. You say what you want. Shaun St-Amour, community builder.
Shaun St-Amour, 1970.
Shaun St-Amour, a great friend of the show.
Yeah, I'll go with that. So Shaun St-Amour is magnificent, 1970, great friend of the show. Passive house brilliancy all running through. But I will say the one thing that Shaun to me really is giving. So why don't we bring him on? What do you think?
Let's do it, Dave.
Wow.
Shaun St-Amour. See, now everybody's getting the 1970 look,
Yeah.
right?
Well, so clarify, actually born 1979, so that date would make sense. And when it comes to hockey, I gotta say forecheck, back check, paycheck, baby. And pull this out of the dust collection, but that's the vintage goalie helmet.
Wow.
It's on the shelf.
The devil.
The Tasmanian Devil.
The
Folks.
goalie helmet. How about that? Super
Yeah.
cool, man.
Another one's
Yeah.
in the goalie bag. So
And you're still playing goalie, right?
Yeah, I love it. I get to play once a week, play goalie, and then I play out another time. And boy, it's a great sport.
It is. It is a great sport. Mark, finish that already. I'm making me hungry, dude.
Jealous.
I'm just going to hover. I'm going to eat it real slow. Dave, Shaun has a surprise for you today.
Yes. So there's a lovely line that you love to kick off the your BS Fridays with, and I have actually incorporated that question into my presentation. So for the morning, I'm actually going to let you sit in your comfy chair. I'm going to fire up the presentation and let's get the show started. Right, gentlemen? That's what we're here for. BS Friday. Let's do it. And
nice.
I'm on. We know that BS Friday is spelled, the Friday is spelled with a PH. So let's turn this thing on.
PH.
We're going to do a shared screen. We're going to do this.
Sharing the screen works 60% of the time, every time.
There you guys see something?
Yep, it's there.
Awesome.
You're good.
Passive House today is in the title. We're going to go on a little journey, a little storytelling. So I hope that you're in your comfy seat. You got your warm, you got your nice beverage, because I want to tell a little bit story of how we're going to get all of you that are out there to think about Passive House, not because it has a lot of great benefits, but that you're now behind the times and the competition has already left the train. It's on the tracks, it's going, and we all need to catch up. So Passive House, it is the best product. Passive House, it is the best service. Passive House is the best building, and Passive House is the best home. Hold that for a second, because we all want to hold up our Stanley Cups in life. And for me, I'm a hockey guy. I know everyone's into soccer right now, and they're all going to want to hold up the World Cup. Every day, I'm trying to hold up that lovely Stanley Cup to try to be the best that I can be. So who is Shaun St-Amour? Dave asks. Well, I am the co-host and creator with Passive House Accelerator with my good friend Mark. I am the VP of Operations at Clay Construction. Locally, I'm also involved in the Construction Association as the chair of the Education and Technical Committee. I'm also instructor over at BCIT, which is the technical school. And I like to organize Passive House socials with Passive House Canada. And every once in a while, I get to pop on this show called David Cooper Live, BS Fridays. Love you two gentlemen. Thank you for having me today. In my career, I have fell in love with sustainable homes. And I've got 4 great influencers there that have helped me out in my life. I've got many more, but those 4 have definitely helped guide me into the fact that changed. I was passionate about sustainable prefab passive houses, which should be affordable. That's a whole separate show. In the last year, though, I have to say we've had to pivot and adjust the word sustainable and look at resilient. And maybe next year that word might be regenerative, but I'm going to stick with my passion is resilient prefab passive homes. And yes, they should be affordable. Every morning I wake up to these lovely 3 faces, and they give me a lot of joy, and I try to work hard for them. And I'm really lucky to have a great extended family. But these angels I am grateful to have in my life. Now, I kind of lied a little bit in the intro, but I wanted to spark some interest, because now you're wondering about Passive House. Well, we're not going to get into the full equation today, but really Passive House is part of the story. And in the industry right now, we're kind of still stuck at the first part, looking at our operating carbon, and that's Passive House. And that's where I'm really passionate about, really want to make sure that all the industry out there today is moving forward, not, in 10 years, not in a few years, but now. We need to all finally get on board. And from a competitive standard, I say, and you talked about me being a Passive House guru. is I'm kind of generation 2. I got my first, sniff of passive house in about 2012. I took the course in 2014. I took the tradesperson course in 2017. But there was already generation 1 that got on board in 2008 that already started. And I don't know what I would probably call Mark as a generation 1. Now, people that are getting into passive house now, you're like generation 4. So you're that far behind the leaders in the industry that have already taken off. So if you don't have passive house in your radar today, well, your goals for 2023 is, how do I learn about passive house, and how do I become a builder or an architect or somewhere in the construction industry that is using those terms and moving the industry forward, because we're going there. The bus and train is already on the tracks. So the big equation, though, that we won't get into today, though, is passive house is part of getting to zero carbon buildings, because you worry about the operating carbon, the energy required to heat and cool the home. Then you look at the materials in your home. Then we provide electrification. Then we add our renewable energy, and then you're at a zero carbon home. So we must make our buildings more comfortable, healthy, and energy efficient. And I use those 3 words because for a lot of time, we thought people were interested in energy efficiency. But you know what? That's actually probably a very small part of the market. And now we've got 8 billion people on the planet out there, and we have to look at how we're going to provide the best type of homes for them. Now, if you're interested in saving the climate, you understand that, hey, comfortable and healthy is kind of for everybody. If you're selfish and you're kind of like only like yourself, guess what? You care about comfort and health for yourself. So passive house caters to 8 billion people that need shelter, but not just regular shelter, high performance shelter. And so we all have this lovely plant that we love. My good friend Zach Simke says, you know what? We only live in that thin blue line. That's what all we're doing is affecting that thin blue line. And we need some, things. We got Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We need fresh air. We need good food. We need fresh water. We need our health. We need comfort. And of course, we need our love. But where I am passionate is about shelter. And you have the famous photograph there of falling water, which I was happened to see. I think, Dave, this is maybe in your neighborhood.
Right up the road.
When I got to Pittsburgh for a Passive House conference, that was the one thing that was on my bucket. I also saw the Penguins and Canucks game, did my Passive House conference, and then went to Falling Water. And the 2 projects on the right are the ones that I've been involved in. So shelter is really important to me. And what I've learned over the years is that we haven't really evolved too much in shelter. You might say, hey, no, Shaun, I build houses. No, you don't. You build cabins with really good kitchens and bath. And I hope I pissed you off, because when we talk about passive house, we now start talking about the shell. And that shell that you currently build is probably no different than the one you do when you go camping or you go with your friends or out in the bush. There's not much difference between the 2 of them. Yeah, there might be more engineering involved. There might be a bit more structure, but things haven't evolved that much. And now with high performance, we're taking that change and moving it forward. And we can do that all together. So,
John, in that last slide, how did you get that picture of me by the campfire? I can't believe you got that. That was
well, you know what? Luckily, I've got a time machine, and so I was able to hit the button. Because again, a good friend Monty Paulson knows all about time machines and Back to the Future, and so I just hopped into his DeLorean, and we went in there, and so that I could show up today. So it was pretty easy. I just called my friend.
That is a flux capacitor with a pH.
Totally is, and we got the 2032 model. So a little bit about me is I actually realized that I've actually lived in a lot of shelter in my life. Born in Ottawa, lived in this house that was 100 years old. Then I ended up moving to Edmonton, lived in a quadplex, then moved to Burlington, which is outside of Toronto. And this is the back side of it. They lived in a row house, moved to Ottawa, where I lived in a duplex. And you can see again how the trees can really change. Finally landed in Vancouver in a suburb called Coquitlam, where my parents were able to purchase a single family house. Here it is, where I spent most of my teenage years. But it's just a side note. I look across the street and I'm like, oh, look it, there's a cabin. And you can see that it's a cabin because we can see the roof joists. Oh, or the trusses. Oh, look at that. Across the street, there's a cabin. And we see a lot of that stuff. Now, coming back to my life, lived with a condo with my brother. Then my girlfriend, now wife, we lived in a basement suite in a character home. Went back to living in a condo. Went through the whole leaky condo crisis. Was able to do my first development. So this is a Vancouver special, very prominent housing here in Vancouver. Got to live with my my aunt and uncle in the basement and got to experience multi-generational living. Turn this project into an affordable, sustainable renovation. There's my my hybrid, first kind of Canada getting into electric vehicles. Then we moved into rental housing, be closer to my wife's school, and did our first development project, which was supposed to be a passive house, and I'll talk more about that. Now, again, we've got another development project where we're into different shelters, and this is where I'm residing today. Again, learning that multi-generational living is great. Got a good sized house close to the beach, and I'm in the back of that house hanging out. So that is a little bit, Dave, of my story to date, and we're going to focus more on oh, sorry, I did the tab button and
That's all right. We can see it just fine.
so so you might ask me about that particular house. And so when you're saying, okay, Shaun, what was that moment in time that made you passionate about resilient prefab passive houses? And most of the Canadians say, oh, it's the first passive house in Canada. Well, guess what? I actually didn't learn about this house until 2014. But in 2004, I got to go to this place called Balford's. To me, it is the mecca of housing. It is an hour and a half west of Munich. And I got to go and actually present on behalf of the company, the prefab company I was working for. And what I saw was this house. This was the original thing that was like, this talked about automation. The window in front of you actually opens so you can actually have a private space. And I was like, this house is beyond. This is 2012. This house was just a futuristic house. And I've gone back to Balford's many times, and I went back when they released this house. This is their 120 anniversary celebration house. This company has been doing prefab homes for 35 years. They've been in business for 122 years now, and the owner is fourth generation. These people have figured out shelter to the point where this house is my benchmark. It is the zero carbon house that I aspire to build every day of the year. Now, let's go for a little tour of this house, and I'm going to take you to Germany, because look at that kitchen. Look at that hallway. Look at that bathtub. That bathtub is all wood. Yes, this is a bit of a Tesla roadster of houses, but Balford's was teaching their staff, their community, their clients of all the bells and whistles to make sure that their clients could just dream of the unimaginable, because these people are already building things that most people wouldn't even consider. Here's a room where they've got exterior shutters that create just this really cool space. And gentlemen, one day I hope I could bring you to this bar that's in the basement, crack a bottle of wine, and talk about how North America can use Balford's as a standard to achieve, because I've been thinking about this for 19 years. Now, the one thing about Balford's, it doesn't just make beautiful houses, they do it prefab. Look at this factory. Those are custom made Weinmann lines. That's third generation Weinmann lines that they have there, standing all the walls. So not only do they have a great house, they got prefab, but that right there, folks, is the perfect wall. That is a zero carbon wall that has been designed for the passive house standard. And if you want it to have more insulation, guess what insulation they choose? More organic material. They use a wood fiber board to make sure that their wall system is as zero carbon as you can think of. I saw this in 2004. You know what we were building in 2004? We barely evolved past a 2x6 stud and lots of pink insulation. That thing right there is beauty, and I love it so much that I wanted to share with you, because when I first saw it in 2004, I couldn't share it. And Now I can, and I hope you copy and paste because we need to learn, share, and collaborate. So another thing about passive house that really kind of got me started again is that there's some function to it. And I'm a person that loves function and form, but now I understand that passive houses can save 90% more energy, 90% more energy efficient on residential construction. To me, that was like, hey, there's some building science going on here. I understand the climate crisis because I'm part of that market that is trying to save the human race. And I understand that buildings play a huge part in how we're going to save the human race and manage the climate crisis. And the best part is we have the passive house design principles, and we're not going to get too far into them now because we don't have time. And I want to just keep focusing on why we need to do this. And don't worry, I have the backup plan and backup information of you can do the passive house primer. But quickly is passive house has 5 principles. And of course, we spell 5 with a PH. We add a sweater to our house. We gift wrap our houses. We put a fresh air machine in our houses. We make sure we deal with thermal bridge free design. I know, a bit of a technical word, but when you put the insulation on the outside, it really helps. And then we put amazing daylighting in our homes, putting some really good windows and doors. And look at all the benefits. I only talked about comfortable and healthy and energy efficient. Imagine quiet, where you don't hear Mark chewing his pie, or you don't hear Dave and the Coopers next door that are all, crazy and going nuts. No dust, no bugs. Our good friend Michael Ingrid talks about the no bugs. So many good benefits of this. But let's dive into some projects because you come here to look at things, and I think we need to understand how we're going to make this work. So for me, I wanted to build a high performance building. This is 2012, just kind of learning about passive house. And so I knew that air tightness was a good thing. So I ended up spray foaming the crap out of this house. And I called an energy advisor. We did my first blower door test was 2012 on this house. And when we finished it, the energy advisor was like, oh my God, you guys did such a great job. I didn't even know what the score was. I think our score was probably 1.5 or 1.7. I don't remember. I actually tried to track down the number just so I had the record. But I can tell you is when he first came in, it was 12. When we got lower, he said it was one of the best ones he'd ever tested. To me, 1.5, 1.7, not even on my radar now. To me, that would be a failure with a pH.
You know what's interesting about the last photo that has nothing to do with building science is many fences that I put up on the properties we built are identical to the one that our friend Shaun did, and we didn't even know each other existed. Different time zones, different parallels.
We share so many things. So just to carry on, so we popped open a wall, made the whole house really open and fresh. I got creative. I put drawers and stairs. Yeah, there's a bit of a code issue here, but you know what? The kids loved my wife loved putting her shoes in here. The kids loved putting their mittens, and there's no clutter in the entrance. That was a fun project. So that was my first attempt at doing high performance. Then I got an opportunity because I was building a lot of presentation centers for condos. And I got to meet a good friend of ours, Scott Kennedy with Cornerstone Architecture, that was putting a 10-unit passive house row home project together. And I got to understand language because I got to be so involved in passive house that we kept talking about energy efficiency, but the market didn't really understand it or didn't care. And so marketing people came to Scott and said, we need to work on how to spin passive house and talk about the benefits. And I learned, we need to build better. Interesting. All right. It's going to be a bit of a theme here, folks, tonight is we're all going to build better. Then I listened to a presentation by a good friend, Lloyd Alter, and guess what? He said the 4 same things that my professor at university came to when I did my thesis on prefab homes. He says, sustainability won't sell. You got to talk about health, comfort, and security. And 18 years later, guess what? Lloyd's promoting the same thing. So now we have an idea of how we can market this to 8 billion people. Now comes back to building the change. And for me, my first attempt at a passive house project was this one. And ideally, I was going to turn into a prefab passive house, a builder. And the first thing you do when you're looking at a project is something that, again, Mark and I love. Good Kevin Brennan, a friend of ours as well. What he loves, mock-ups. And why don't you do a mock-up with Lego? And so guess what, folks? I was hanging out with my kids. They were doing their Lego. What does Dad do? And now that I have been demoted from being a Lego builder, or sorry, master builder, I'm now the master supervisor. I'm going to build my own Lego. And that's what I did. I built my passive house. And then I took things to another level. I was really interested in 3D printing. I was like, I'm going to revolutionize prefab by being the first 3D printer of homes. And I went to go do it. And so I had my friend Jeff, who was at UBC finishing up his degree, and we started making a prefab house. So we used, ideally, we were going to mock it up. This was going to be a scale from 1 to 50. And so we would have NLT, so nail laminated timber as our floor system. Here you can just see it as kind of a wood slab. We'd have CLT structures. And what I learned was that this method actually doesn't work well in construction. We're seeing a lot of 3D printing in concrete, and concrete's one of the worst carbon materials to use. And so then I went back, you know what? It was fun to do this in 3D printing, but we got to go back to prefab the traditional way, the way that Balfour's has been doing for 35 years. Oh, benchmark, stick with it. So there we are. That's 3D printer and a bunch of stuff. And then on we went. What was cool about this too, is the pathway of using technology, because we always love technical techniques and technology. And here we actually used cardboard goggles to do virtual tours of the house. This was 2016. So this technology has been around. We just need to adapt it now and more involved. So the one thing that I've been really lucky too was to be involved in a demonstration project. And I recommend you do this. If as a builder, go work in your community, go do something, either go work for Habitat for Humanity or do something where you can learn some of this craft. Because guess what? There's other people paying for you. And if you can make mistakes, guess what? You can figure it out. This particular project went amazingly. Members in Vancouver got inspired by going to Vienna to see their Passive House conference and seeing an Icebox Challenge. And so we brought it to Vancouver. And I'm super lucky because not only was this prefabbed at BCIT, it ended up traveling around North America. And guess what? It is still in Pittsburgh. That's where it ended up. And it was such a cool project to help promote Passive House and talking about only 4 of the Passive House principles. We weren't able to put a fresh air machine in there, but it did talk about the sweater details, the high performance glazing, and the thermal bridging, and really cool project. And now we need to talk about maybe more about experiencing the Passive House experience. More on that later. But the best part is every challenge that occurred, guess who won, folks? Yes. Ding, ding, ding. Passive House box won every time. And in most cases, blew it out of the water. So another cool mock-up that I was involved in was this really interesting project way up north. It's halfway up BC called Whitsett near Smithers. Got to hang out with Passive House Canada's trainers, and we built a mock-up. And every time you do a mock-up, you'll be surprised at what you learn. And this particular mock-up, I really defined my windowsill detail, and it worked great for this project. And from a technical technique and technology standpoint, really good thing. So if someone says, nope, we're just going to dive into building and not doing a mock-up, throw your tools down, walk away, because there's going to be trouble. There's going to be extras. There's going to be change orders. There will be mayhem. Do a mock-up. If you had to take about 5 takeaways today, number 5 would be do your mock-up. Gentlemen, I'm sure we probably need to connect with the audience. I know you guys like to do that. I know I got a little excited there. Should we do a timeout and see what's going on in the audience? Any questions, concerns?
Holy mackerel. Yeah, I got a lot of concerns. I'm on information overload. You're quickly becoming one of the better presentations. I mean, there's quite a few out there, but I love it, Shaun. I think you're doing amazing. And there's a lot of people that showed up.
Bring in the force with a PH.
You bring in the force with the PH. Yeah. We can say hi to a few people real quick. I mean, listen, we got a lot more to get through here with Shaun, but like I said, the guy is about giving away all the information and lessons learned so all of you out there can build it better. And I want to be clear so everybody knows, passive house is the goal. But depending on your budget and where you are, even if you're on a project right now, you can start incorporating some of these things to at least make that house better and keep building on it. Because like you said, Shaun, you're always striving to get to that Balfour's level, right? And you don't always get there. Maybe you try, but the idea is that as long as you can build it a little bit better each and every time, you can slowly get to where we need to be to lower the carbon footprint, lower the energy bills, and all the other fun stuff. And healthy homes. Love it. By the way, you got a beautiful family. I don't know if anybody said that, but you're a lucky man. Well done.
Lucky in many regards. Lucky to hang with you guys. Lucky for them. Okay, let's dive back into it. Let's hit the control tab. We're going back in, folks.
All right, we're going back in. We'll say hello to people later.
Yeah, we're going back in because if you're a builder and you're like, okay, Shaun, I hear you're saying build better. Well, what do I need to do? I hear you. You're making me scared. I'm in fear now that I'm behind in the marketplace. What can I do? Well, stick around. Hopefully, you're in your comfy chair because I'm going to give you some hot tips here. You're going to build a change by doing what Larry Clay did. A couple of years ago, he got himself committed to being to high performance. And he's like, I got to get there. I got to do it, and started to work on his method because he's been building quality high-end homes for 17 years, built about 90 homes. But again, I tease him because, like myself before as well, is we've been great at building cabins with really nice kitchens and baths. And boy, he's won some awards. He's built a lot of beautiful homes over the year. And now we're in that process of how do we switch from that code built to then moving towards passive house. And so for those that aren't familiar with like what's happening here in BC is we're lucky because we have policy that's helping to push. And Larry kind of knew, hey, the writing's on the wall. If I don't get moving forward to the passive house standard, I'm going to be left in the dust. And he started to work on his understanding of what high performance was. And you can see that in 2032, every builder in BC is pretty much at passive house. There's a small little detail that we're not going to deal with, but know that BC is on the pathway by 2032 to be building passive house. Canada and the national level will be working there. Then we're going to start working on retrofits. So you people in America, if you want to like build better and you're having struggles with your local municipalities, come to Canada, come to BC, come build. We need the skilled labor. And as you can see, the market is moving there. So this is that whole carrots hit him over the sticks and carrots process. Larry knew that he needed to move forward with it. And so here's a project that we're just about to wrap up that really went hard at how he could build his systems that would be able to achieve the same level of performance house after house after house after house. So if you just saw that slide about the step code, what I can say to you and kind of what Dave, what you alluded to is go to step 5, skip 3. We're at finally 3, skip 4 now and go to 5 because you'll just learn how to get there. And even if you miss, you'll still do better than what you're, again, it's a whole shooting to the moon. You get to outer space, it's probably pretty good. Maybe not be able to get back, but the example. So with this house, the Clay way and the team here at Clay Construction, we've still been able to provide what Larry's been doing and that his team has been doing for a long time. We still providing really good quality. Again, still protecting the stairs, but you can see like the level of house that he has done over the years, we're still providing it. But behind that wall is a very sophisticated system. So this is where I want to talk to you about. We're going to talk about our control layers, and you're going to see how there's some systems here that are coming around. So we're going to work our way from the current, and we're going to go back in time here. Again, we're hopping in with our flux capacitor and Monty and his DeLorean, and he's got the extended limo version because I know Mark needs to stretch out his legs. So the extended DeLorean, folks, we're in it, and here we go, back in time. We put on the stucco, put on the different trim pieces, put on our wrapping up some flashing details. There again, the stucco has its own rain screen separated from the hardy board rain screen. Look at that. There's exterior insulation. Exterior insulation. What's that? That's providing that thermal break on the house. That means the studs are not allowing the heat to get out of the house. We get to that level here of air tightness, where here we have our weather resistant barrier, WRB, with our AB, or air barrier. And look at it. It's like I'm literally gift wrapping this house for the client. When I'm done, I will put a bow on the door and say, I gave you a gift. I wrapped it nice and tight, and I looked after the pinholes and try to minimize them so that you can enjoy the comforts of Passive House. Now, this isn't a Passive House, but as a builder, we definitely worked on what we could do to get them there. And as a builder, it's all about the air tightness. So you can see, again, you go from the structure all the way back out there. So let's just quickly talk about what I just said there. Exterior cladding, that is the jewelry on your house. The insulation, that's the sweater that we put on. And remember when you grew up and you're like, Mom, Dad, I'm cold. And they're like, put on a sweater, put on your slippers. Well, that's what we're doing for the house. So then you don't need to do that in the winter, or, be in your boxers in the summer because it's so hot outside. We can build that resilient envelope to ensure that you're comfortable. You're comfortable in the middle of the house. You're comfortable by the windows. The temperature at 20 degrees Celsius or 70 degrees Fahrenheit is there in the entire year that we help manage it. Now, I said we gift wrap the house. We put in windows for daylighting. We put in the right size of windows because, again, they're still the leakiest part. But instead of the windows being entirely the leakiest part of the home, we've now minimized it to the connection of the windows to the structure. Talked about the air barrier layer, the structure being the bones, and we definitely need to make sure we've included the fresh air machine when we're looking at the perfect wall assembly. Now, BS Friday is all about building science, so I have to mention the real BS here is what we're doing here. Always number one priority, managing bulk water. The perfect wall does it. We're creating a solid air barrier strategy. We understand the major 4 points of foundation to wall, wall to window, wall to ceiling, making sure the penetrations, the lighting, the plugs, the ducting stuff are all sealed up properly. We understand vapor control based on our climate zone. We build walls where we can dry in both directions. And literally, I'm putting as much insulation as a client can afford and chooses to buy. We've taken care of the 5 Passive principles. We've now given clients the benefits of it all. And this is where it comes down to is, what is the plan? If you don't have a plan, again, we've got, I was looking for my book, but I just forgot. We have to have the end in mind. We start with it. And so we need to develop a plan. So now that I've scared you about, hey, clay construction is already on the tracks and they're going down and we're being left behind, well, you can hop on too, because I know that, like, I'm ultra competitive. There's some of you that are competitive. If we're excelling at our craft, there is a level of competition that we all need. And we've got our good friend Aaron Jones, and I'm going to butcher the hashtag, and Mark, you can correct it, but the community should be competing together. We should be growing together. And again, learn, share, collaborate. So not only do I want to be winning the Stanley Cup, but I want you all to be there too. And so what is the plan to be the best? Well, again, is that we know as a builder, let me take a step back, is we know the perfect wall assembly right now in the traditional form of construction means the exterior cladding is defined by the architect and designer. The sweater is taken care of by the energy advisor. I think you guys have HERS raters in the US. Daylighting is taken care of by the architect designer. The bones of the structural engineer. But the builder can play a huge part in Passive House by focusing on the air barrier. By doing that, you could actually single-handedly reduce the energy requirements of that house by anywhere between 40 and 80% by doing that one detail. Because once you go from 2.5, and again, these are numbers that our lovely Red Door Truth will provide you with. When you get to those lower numbers, you're getting rid of the chance of that heating or cooling that's inside your space, finding the pinholes and getting out. You provide the fresh air machine because you now have this gift wrap box that you need filter fresh air. So those are two things that in 2023, every builder, whoever is in the construction industry that's out there today, that's what you should be doing. And you should be working on your air barrier strategy so you can work on getting to those passive levels. Again, as Dave said, if you don't get there next year, you tried, and you're going to keep improving. And that's that our ultra competitiveness of we're going to be working on continuous improvement. You can have an effect of the sweater detail. You could talk to the team and be like, hey, we actually should do more. Can we do more? Can we modify the wall assembly to get more insulation? Can we choose different wall assemblies? Maybe the perfect walls are pretty going to go with. And of course, daylighting matters. Maybe you do smaller windows so they don't leak as much. And this is that part where the beginning of the project, we need to bring our team together and have these discussions so we all come with our different strategies, our different techniques to ensure that we can have the plan defined and set before we start building so that we don't leave the builders or the team hanging out to dry. We got to come together, collaborate, learn, share. I want to showcase our next project. So again, we're in that final phase here. The electrician just turned the lights on, and you can see here the front door just got installed. We've actually protected because it's such a nice door. We want to take care of it. But the same clay way of high qualityness is being done here. Look at that chevron floor. Boy, it's beautiful. Metal stairs are in. So now let's look at this angle here of this particular project where we're going to take the onion. We're going to take off those layers. So now we have the cladding on. We got the jewelry. Look at that house. Like that is a sexy looking house. We've got our, again, I didn't take the photo of the furring strips, but the furring strips are installed. You can kind of see at the bottom level there because the furring strips make sure that we've got drying potential and ventilation in that cavity system.
I like that photo because it shows a safe and efficient working system for the specialists and a safe and efficient building for the people.
And one thing that I'd be a bit egotistical. Look how clean that site is too.
Right.
Right.
Wow.
Inspectors come to our job and they don't have to worry. And our inspections go a lot smoother because people feel safe. And again, safety, quality, production. That's how we manage the businesses.
Critter control, dust control.
Yeah. Now, Dave, this photo is for you. I know you love offsite construction. So do I. I'm happy that our framer does bring in some on-site prefab. And so he has that machine to lift things up. So again, now you can see the air barrier detail of the house. And we're going to start to kind of undo it. Again, great stuff. I could do a whole presentation of this amazing roof detail. We don't have time for it today. But you can see now the structure that's there, how we're able to lift up those walls, and we bring it all the way back.
Hold on, go back one, Shaun. So that little step right there alone is just popping on the flap, right?
Our floppy bit.
The joists begin, and that allows the connection of everything inside and outside. It takes no time. Yeah. No time, and the cost it takes is minimal at best.
Yeah. How much time was that, Mark?
Minimal.
No time. So, in all honesty, Dave, that top plate there is going to add, let's be lengthy, 28 minutes to a project.
I could do it in 26 minutes.
The first time you do it. The second time is 12 minutes.
26 minutes. I could do it in 26.
26. There you go. The race is on.
I'm not available, but if I was, go ahead, Shaun.
Oh, I hear a challenge.
Challenge is on. Yeah.
I don't even know how to install.
I will be in New York next week.
What's going on, buddy?
So I'm going to keep going just because, again, I'm up to crunch and I got so much to share. So
I want to just say, though, Dave, the secret to Michael having that put in is the magic word, Kevin Brennan.
Exactly. Keep going. Go ahead, this is great. I love this project.
So now I want to go to a different approach because we've been talking about new houses. Well, guess what? The same system applies to retrofits. And most people are like, what the hell, Shaun, is a retrofit? It's a renovation with high performance assemblies. So we've got this project now where and I'm going to go through it again. Now this is where we actually have the rain screen on. I didn't take a photo of it, but we've got 6 inches of exterior insulation on a 2x4 original wall. This house is 40, 50 years old. Again, it's, probably not, hadn't seen its lifetime, but the homeowners wanted to fix. They actually started with a renovation, and then we turned it into a retrofit where we've take off the insulation. Now you can see the air barrier details, see some modifications to it. There's the part of the structure. We did some extra framing. So there you can kind of see part of it. So that same level of task of how we deal with that assembly works for new builds and retrofits, and will allow us to get to below one air change. And now we can have conversations with the design team about the other changes we need to do to get to passive house. So builders out there, air barrier, air barrier, air barrier, develop your plan, work the plan, and get to those excellent air tightness levels, and then make sure you incorporate the other passive house principles. So again, Balfreds was my favorite. I want to showcase a couple of favorites that I've now been able to work on to be like, hey, I'm getting closer to Balfreds. This is a project in Nanaimo Passive House where I got to hang out with Mike Leggett. He's a builder there. Got to hang out with him in my Memento Man suit. Really cool house. Worked through him with his projects. And so where earlier I said I was doing a development for Passive House, I've ended up selling that property and buying that other one. And I felt like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to get my family into a passive house. Well, with my work at 475, I got to be part of the design team over 20 passive houses, over 200 high performance projects. So you talk about, like, I've been able to work on amazing projects. And I want to showcase some of them briefly here. This is Mike's home, a lot of great details in it. And this is where I saw this fireplace. You're going to say, that is a lit project near a kid. No, that's water vapor and LED lights. Remember at the very beginning slide when I said, get in your comfy place? Do you remember that fireplace? Again, always eyes open. You never know, you might learn something and need it in your own world. So learn, share, collaborate. You'll be surprised. Other little project here called the Ripple House. Got a kitchen area, got a bathroom area, beautiful view, prefabricated, all wood panel.
Who's that dude?
That is our friend Mark Anson, who has now a new company called Timber Tiles. He makes tiles out of timber. Pretty cool guy. So he's got this shop here where all wood, CLT, wood fiber insulation, and minimizing concrete. You see foam glass panels. These products don't even exist anymore. He bought the last product in North America. Now, again, we need Glavel to start manufacturing the panels. Comfort board below the slab. You can see this hempcrete blocks that he did. Amazing. 8 inches of wood fiber, over 3 inches of CLT. And
I love the ceiling detail on this one. Stunning. Look at that.
Right? Like that's the, like, function and form. Such a beautiful house. Again, Douglas fir, scrap wood, the burned cedar. Love it. And then they actually made 4 extra panels. So he made this other little wood shop that he actually has local creators come in and they build these little ornaments for insects and birds, and that's all made in this little 8-foot by 4-foot shop that were extra panels. Amazing guy, amazing project. There's the view, and guess what? The green roof. Every day around 4 o'clock, he seems to get some local friends. These ones are a little furrier than I want, but guess what? Got to take care of being connected to nature. This project is the pinnacle of my work to date. It is as close as I can get to Balfreds. And I didn't get a lot of sweat equity here, but I worked with the team to get it there. It's a project where living building challenge, passive house in Green Shores, beautiful house, simple, elegant. The floor is from an old high school gym. The kitchen is from another kitchen from Vancouver. The cedar was scraps from a cedar mill. And it's again off grid. They didn't put so they kept the original, the house is on the original footing. So they didn't expand it. So they kind of reused the concrete from that. And they put solar where solar should be. Again, here's structural materials that were used from the original house. Again, great design team, great thought process. Great that I was able to involve it. So kind of wrap things up here quickly, folks. The goal is to get to zero carbon homes the 2023 goal for you as a builder is get to Passive House as soon as you can, figure out your plan for the air barrier and get there now. And if you need help, call Mark, call Dave, call Shaun, call Mike, call Larry. We're here to help you. And again, we've been involved with the Passive Accelerator, and look at all those presentations that are out there. There's so much out there in 2.5 years from Dave, with all the work you've done with Dave Cooper Live and the presentations. Like, I think you're at like 10,000 downloads per month, like crazy numbers, because we're out there. So I want to win more Stanley Cups. I don't want to win them by myself. I want to win them with the community, and passive houses for everyone. You can be there. And I do have to say, I have one Stanley Cup that I got to this year. Was I did build my dad a mini passive house called the Fart Shack. You might want to say PH Art Shack, but got to work with a great team with Chris from B Collective. Hey, look at that guy, Jeff. Remember the 3D printing guy? Good people. They come back around. So I'm working on the dynasty for 8 billion people that need high performance houses. Let's get them there. Let's show them the way. If you need help, there's great resources. I got some out there as well. Let's work together. And you know where I'm going, folks? I'm going where the puck is going to be. So thank you very much.
I love that quote, by the way. I'm going where the puck's going to be, not where it's been. Very good.
I think it's incredible. I have an off-topic comment for Shaun. When the first Hespler stick arrived in composite, guess who made it for Mr. Gretzky himself? Once upon a day. That was such
the Mark Willie.
The problem, Shaun, is we didn't press record. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the beginning, and we're going to go back through it. So fire it up, Shaun.
Ready to go, folks. Ready to go. Let's hear it.
All right. I got two problems here. One is Shaun, during your presentation, you assume that I wear boxer shorts, right, in the house in the summertime, right? That was an assumption we got to be careful with. And Mark, you said you made Gretzky's stick.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice how he just kind of flaunted that and then moved on?
That's pretty cool.
So the composite portion, I was there for the full layup, and then the entire finishing I was there for, and he wasn't supposed to get it. He got it and he used it, and the rest is history.
Congratulations. That's cool. This, like, when you really think about this is the level of professional people that you're talking to on this show, right? I mean, you were very humble about that, and I love how you went back and made it all about Shaun, because it is all about Shaun today and that. But I think it's important to point out, Shaun, that presentation was absolutely amazing, first of all, but again, you're only one person, and you're surrounding yourself with all the right people to build the team that can make it happen, because you wouldn't be able to get a single one of those houses done by yourself without the team. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what I'm trying to say here. So, and then Michael just shows up out of thin air, just pops into the show, like he's somebody. I mean, come on. We're going to be up there next week, Michael. We're coming up there. You laid the gauntlet for timing, and I have to say, I think it was somebody in here, who was it, put up there that Shaun's daughter could do it in 15 minutes. Did you see that?
I got to tell you,
she's good, and like, if you know,
Bowron, it was Bowron Berry,
Berry, yep.
She's created her own El Paso. She actually created. I should go grab it. She's actually created the Canada house that Harold Orr built, the Saskatchewan house.
Yeah.
I'll get in a
Very
second.
cool.
Very cool. Hey, talk about gratitude. Gentleman below me, Mr. Michael Ingui, helped us out, the community, 2.5 years ago. Well, it's actually been 3 for him. He created the Passive Accelerator. And when COVID hit, Monty Paulson called me on March 12th at 4:30 and said, we need to take our community online. Figured out, Shaun. And I was like, no problem. That's what I do. And within 2 weeks, we were doing Wednesday happy hour events with Ingui and Zach and the team at the Accelerator. And boy, it's been a lot of fun.
It has. I have to tell you, what's cool about you, Shaun, is it's not only the extreme level of energy, which is really cool, but it's just it's just everything you have to back it up. I mean, that's just a lot of experience in one one presentation just now. And and I find myself wanting to like go back to the retrofit one or the new
I know.
build one, or like,
Yeah.
but like each one of those I could spend the next 15 minutes just asking you questions on, and I could say about a lot of them. Well, that's really important. We need to focus on that. And you're involved in a bunch of cool stuff, man, and you share it all, which is very
Yeah,
cool.
no, I'm
So it's
really
good.
lucky that
I
Larry
like
came on
collaborating with you
board.
guys.
Yeah, thanks. No, again,
My favorite,
All of you.
with a PH, that's favorite with a PH, is not so much the homes, because I got to tell you, whether you're on the bandwagon or not, the homes are going to keep getting built. The schools are going to keep getting built. The hotels are going to keep getting built. All these are going to keep getting built. My favorite is the Icebox Challenge,
Mhm.
because it came out of nowhere. It's mobile, and it allowed people to say, right, because it gave that visual. It's like a thermal image, right? You don't have to talk about principles. You're showing ice. You might not ever know the word passive house in your life, but you've seen a big block of ice and a melted block of ice. We've seen a full ice cream cone and one all over the kid's face. You know the difference.
Sure.
And Zach was involved with that. There's about 12 integral people involved in location one, and then all the other locations, and online. I mean, good gosh, it's
So
still
So
mind-blowing.
in New York, when he was in New York, it was in Times Square and saw 250,000 people go by it in 2 weeks.
And that's how I met you, Shaun.
Yeah.
And that was very cool. That was
You were
such
one
a
of the
great
250,000.
experience. I was one of the people who watch it and hanging out and checking it out and talking to Shaun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's been a cool ride to see kind of where everything's gone since. It's fun.
In fact, Michael borrowed his camera to Sam, and then Sam claimed it as his, and then Kevin still hasn't returned it. There's a long story with that one, Dave. Dave, what was your favorite part of the presentation today, besides Shaun?
My favorite part of the presentation was that Shaun was driving home that you don't have to be all in on your first project. It's all about growing and learning and just taking all the pieces of the puzzle. I've been doing this show for, 2.5 years with you, Mark, right? And I know enough to be dangerous. But the implementation part is much different than the conversation part, right? And getting out there and trying things and trying to be better. But I think my favorite part about it, and a lot of people don't take advantage of this, and that's picking up the phone or sending a message and asking. There's so many people here that are willing to help people be successful at this, and that's the only way it's going to go forward. YouTube videos only go so far. Actually talking to somebody or troubleshooting something, that's the part where we always need to help on site. And I think that's probably the most takeaway thing that I can get from this whole presentation, because there was a lot of information. There was, if you don't know what you're doing or you don't understand it, just pick up the phone, reach out, send a message, LinkedIn, whatever it is, and somebody will get back in touch with you. Promise.
Well, hey, to come full circle is like now next Friday, we can call in the show and ask you guys questions. So
yeah,
now
how cool is that?
Option. Pretty cool.
I just need a separate phone number now. That's what it'll work on. I'm not giving out my personal cell phone. That'll get ridiculous. But yeah, super cool. Excited about adding this new feature. You will be able to call into the show, so no longer just have to put a comment. We will put it out there, and we'll put the phone number up if people want to call in. Now, this is not a radio station. I do not have 500 lines on hold, so you're probably still going to be better off just sending a message.
You know what, Dave? I'm gonna hand out Michael's number right now in case Dave finds busy during
You
the
want me to
show.
put it up? You want me to put it up online?
People may not like my answer. So
555-1212 English.
just a little bit of schmutz over here, it'll work. It'll work.
That's right.
Just
That's
more of it.
You only have two bottles of caulking. You need a dozen. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Just
Lay it on.
fill it. All right, let's get to some comments here. We are 10 after the hour, so let's run through this. I know people need to get back to doing what they do with their family, or if you're working today, probably it's a quiet day to get things done, but it's also a good day to be watching the show. So let's just run through a quick couple highlights here. If I miss you, I apologize. We'll get back to you. Again, I want to thank Architectural Sheet Metal 101. They just found us on YouTube today, and they're happy to have done so. So if you guys don't know the Sheet Metal Guys 101, reach out, say hello. That's what this channel is all about, sharing knowledge. And we're glad to have you.
It's a nice logo, by the way. ASM. Hey, welcome to AS1 1001. What? You know, like it's like a total radio one. ASM 101.
Yeah. Send me some links. I want to learn more about what you guys do. I do a ton of work in the metal stud space as well and cold form steel. And you'd be amazed at what they're working on to reduce carbon. There's some really cool labs happening right now. So, all right, because it ain't going away. And again, Daryl Huddleston, good to see you. Thank you for joining us again. We got Daniel Builds out there saying, hey, boys. I know it would have to be, how would you say, hey, girls and boys? Jen's in the background, by the way. So we'll say hi to Jen as well. And of course, you can't forget these guys. Live Free Contracting. Got to spend some time with them in Switzerland. Always fun. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4. I love the Marine Corps. Stephen Basic is in the crowd. Good to see you, Mr. Basic. Always look at that picture. Put that up. Let me blow that up. That is just funny. That's a thumbnail. Put it to the right of you, Sean. I'll make a thumbnail out of that. Who drew that of him? That's awesome.
That is from our good friends, Mr. Adam White.
Adam.
That gentleman right there.
He's making caricatures, huh? Look at Adam go. I think you can do that on your iPhone now or something. He's good at it, though.
I totally forgot. I got that guy too.
Look at you.
And I got that guy.
Hey, there you go. If those of you out there want to know who the Live Free Contracting folks are, look, man, you got all of the stickers.
And wait, you know what? This is a special day for this guy, Mr. Aaron Jones. Go to JLC Live. Vote for him today. Got to vote for
right there.
Aaron Jones.
He's in the comments too, so you can go there and click on his link to learn more about him if you don't know who Aaron Jones is.
Get him to be an instructor at JLC Live, folks. We need more Aaron Jones in our life.
I know. I know Michael has to jump on to a different Zoom call we have running. Hey, Robbie. Michael, what are your highlights from BS Friday Live?
I have to tell you, the one I'm looking forward to seeing more about is the retrofit. It was the least exciting one you showed because it's not done yet and it wasn't cool like a lot of your favorites. But that house exists everywhere, and so just being able to do it and having everyone be able to do it. I mean, that house exists everywhere. It's such an important one. So.
With flashing on it, there's some cool things going on it right now that I'll go get video today of going on. So more,
you know what?
The designer and me wanted to pick a different one, but I have to tell you that's the most exciting. The impact on the community is huge.
Yeah, you know what? And Sean, that's a great post. You know the snippet tool that we now have on YouTube where you can cut. And Michael, that's something you should put out there. Say this is an everyday house, and let's point it back to the channel and Sean and all his links so people can follow along what he's doing. That's a great idea. All right, a couple more quick hellos here. I had Connor Malloy up there. We got the Greg Ugaldi in the house. Love the hockey talk. Jen, Dave, Mark, and Sean. Yeah, Greg's a big hockey fan, and all of his daughters. His daughter teaches professional hockey at a pretty high level school. So always glad to have her on. Rob Hoskins, always good to see. Rob, I'm in Pittsburgh. You know, we should have already had done that, but I can't talk. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
Robbie Schwartz is amazing, and how clean and well managed the site. Yep. I love it. And Bronwyn, you're never a stranger to this show. We love it. The perfect wall is the only as good as the roof and floor is connected and the windows and doors punched into it. Sorry if you're looking at walls. I am not a fan of perfect anything. I prefer well connected. I love it. And she has a lot of other great comments.
I have a hot tip. Bronwyn has agreed to 2 presentations in 2023.
See, again, that's generation 1 of the Passive House movement. Again, they're in an elite level, and I'm just catching up to them. So
yeah, super cool.
Hey guys, well, I gotta head out.
Thanks,
Mike. Later. And,
Michael, good seeing you, my friend. Tell your son we said hello and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Great presentation, and Sean, thanks for everything, man.
Happy travels to Dylan, by the way, if you're out there listening, buddy. And Justin as well.
Later.
Yeah. See you guys. All right. That's probably about a wrap for most of us. Sean, did we miss anything? Is there anything you want to leave us with? Mark, anything you want to leave us with on this holiday break?
I would say anything is everything. Everything is anything. Sean covered it left, right, up, down. The example is there. Don't look for it. Copy, paste, community over competition. We are excited. Dave and I were very excited to have this. Shaun's been on the show more than anyone. Someone take his spot. He'll actually give you his chair, as will Dave and I. Take our spots, bring that forward. Shaun, step code should be everywhere, whether you're replicating the Vancouver version, the BC version, or your own municipal modification, rural and urban.
Just build better.
Built it better. That's what we say all the time on the show. Hey, and next week, be sure to join us. We got Building Transparency going to be on December 2nd. Can you believe it's December already? My kids are happy about it being December almost, Christmas time, all the fun stuff there. But you want to join us for that. Mark, that's going to be a fun show.
It's going to be a fun show. Dave, are you going with the kids this weekend to do a little chop of trees or...
Well, that's not on the schedule yet because we have a hockey tournament this weekend, and that pretty much rules the nest in this family on the weekends. But time allows it. It's probably going to happen because I also got to do the old, put up the Christmas lights and everything else in between that.
Going
beautiful.
Shaun,
Shaun,
Galdi knows what I'm talking about.
We're ready for your next presentation. Today was 223 slides. Go back, everyone, watch it again. Find your best 15 to 50 seconds. Clip it out of YouTube. Tag Shaun St-Amour, tag Dave Cooper, and tag a friend and pass it on.
Randy Rand, Renovate 207. Fantastic, he says. Good to see you, Randy. Thank you for chiming in there as well. All right, everybody, that's a wrap for today's show. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Go back to enjoying whatever it is you're doing. Maybe a little quiet solitude in the office, or maybe you're just enjoying the family, whatever your heart desires. I, myself, am going back to the ice-cold skating rink. Shaun, let's go. Let's play some hockey. I'll see you guys.
Soon enough, bud. Thanks.
All right, stay right there. All right, everybody, have a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Bye now.